I have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the August 18, 2022 called meeting?
Second.
I have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, at this time, do we have any speaker appearances? Come on up, sir. And everybody, if you didn't have an opportunity to sign in, that's all right. We'll get you in also. All right.
Brian Campbell, 246 Main Street, Camilla. And I'm here to speak about the gym. Encourage you all to look at it, discuss it. It's very much needed. It's located almost in the center of Camilla. And everybody, the recreation, the county recreation farm uses it for basketball. My grandson played basketball in that gym years ago. I played basketball in that gym. But the Boys and Girls Clubs use it, the schools use it. Remember we have a public school that is a charter school, but they don't even have a gym. So I know at one time I was involved in it. They had all kind of meetings there, voted there one time. We had volleyball there, you have children trials there. It's done well used. And it needs to be, we were looking at it before I got on the council. And we had an architect come and trying to decide to tear it down or rebuild it. And rebuild it, just try and save what we could. And the foundation and the walls were sound. And whether it be cheaper to tear it down or do it down, I don't know. We didn't get that far. But when you start destroying and hauling off debris, it's expensive. There's nothing wrong with it. I wish I would consider keeping it. But it's something that the county, it's the county recreation. So the county eyes look favorable on, I think would help. They have funds available. And it started a process for them. We were looking at low interest loans, grants, the county, all these kind of ways when things kind of slowed down. Councilman Morgan's already on the recreation board, and I think they will be in favor of doing something. That is the county possibility. But it's something I think everybody can come together and do. The school board, all the school board, the county, the city. I think the city council, with all city councilmen, all of them, 6 of them, maybe get together on this. We need to hear from 3 of our city councilmen that are shut down a good bit. And I think it would be a good time for everybody to work together for the best of Camilla. And this would be a good project, something we'll be proud of. And like I said, it's needed. It's used for multiple things. Got parking. With Boy and Girls Club, we were looking at combining it with it from the gym, trying to save on supplies and materials, everything, insurance, the whole works. The water is a problem, but if you're going to remove the Boy and Girls Club, that's where all the water went anyway. But it could be done and be something to be proud of. I encourage y'all to support it and do something good with y'all.
Good deal. Thank you. And for the, appreciate that, Mr. Campbell. Yes, sir.
Mitchell County. Well, I don't know if I misspoken out, but Mitchell County is a Mitchell County recreation department. And the charter school is in Mitchell County, and it's a public school. So they would use it. Anything there?
All right. Thank you, everybody. And just so that for the folks watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, well, I guess you would be using the YouTube link, watching on Facebook. The only thing that you've missed is the opening, and we've had 1 speaker appearance, so we haven't gotten into the the part of the public hearing yet. So you're in tune for that. And then also, based on the speaker appearance by Mr. Campbell just a moment ago, if you're here and you want to speak on the gym, if you like to, you can just wait till we get to the public hearing part. So I think that would probably be better. So is there anyone here that is, well, hold on, because I got the city attorney over here, so I better make sure I clarify. You're more than welcome to speak on anything that you like, if you will. But I just want to remind you that we are having a public hearing on the gym here shortly, so you'll be able to speak there also. All right, so any more speaker appearances? Who are our guys? Come on up, sir. Well, who?
I am Jerome Chester. I live at 115 Lincoln Street,
Okay.
Camilla. I'd like to ask the council to allow the public to comment on any discussion that you have during the work session. I noticed at the last work session, the fire chief, the police chief made some observations, and a person from the public wants to make a comment. But because of your regulation, he or she could not make a comment. I'm asking that you make some provision for the public during the work session to have limited time to make an observation during your discussion on a particular item. Also, I heard Mr. Campbell speak about different agencies. I encourage this council to let us try to have more and better interagency involvement. We could get a lot more done with a group of agencies, in my opinion, than one agency. And let's have good dialogue, good feedback back and forth, not just it's either my way or no way. Let's have enough dialogue that we can find the common ground that we can work together and accomplish whatever our goal is. Thank you.
Excuse me 1 second, Mr. Jester. What would be your observation prior to 2022? You're mentioning that more interagency cooperation. If you're not seeing any of that now, what do you believe has been the barrier to doing that prior to 2022 or last year or any time actually since you've been here?
I do not know. I do not know why we, the council, over the years have not sought better interagency cooperation. I don't have the answer to that.
Okay. So this is a long-term problem that you witnessed over years?
Over the years, yes.
Okay. All right, appreciate you. All right. And I think I saw you stand up. Come on up, my friend. Willie Mitchell get you up. Hey, how you doing, sir?
All right. Good afternoon, Council, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Main public as well. The weeks back, I would like to comment on the letter to the editor, if I may.
Sure.
Wallace Williams, Vietnam veteran, armed with Bronze-Star Medal. I know that everybody has freedom of speech or whatever, but citizens of Camilla, be mindful of what you write to the editor because you're subject to a lawsuit. I mean, I know you got your freedom of speech, but that letter should have never been published. It should have been trashed as soon as it hit your desk.
Excuse me, sir. So that you know, which letter are you referring to, sir?
Say again?
Which letter are you referring
The
to?
letter to the editor about weeks ago. Am I wrong? I can't comment on it.
Well, Oh, no, you can, just, what, do you know the subject of it?
It's pertaining to the council.
Okay.
And I mean, the comments she made. I mean, she literally called the councilors animals. I mean, that's shame. The letter should never been published, in my idea. I mean, God created us equal. Like they say, black or white thing. It's not a black and white thing. God created us all equal. And this petty back and forth, we should all get together and do what's right. And I hate to say this, but it's coming out. That letter to the editor, all she demonstrated to the citizens of Camilla and all of Camilla was the level of her intellect. And to me, she demonstrated she's present. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate your comments. Gunny, you might want to go ahead, come on up, my friend.
I appreciate it, sir.
Right.
I don't need a loudspeaker, gentlemen, ladies. I'm a former Marine, so I have to speak loud or soft. But I want to come to all of you, Mr. Mayor,
Right.
Councilman Tommy Holmes, all right? In the enterprise, there was a subject in there concerning Veterans Day in a parade, all right, which I am against, all right? Reason for that, first, we as American Legion of Post 141 has always had a ceremony on November 11th, all right? How many in here can predict what the weather's going to be on November 11th? I don't hear no answers. So if it's raining and you have a parade, how many people show up? How many people show up when it's raining? None. But if it's inside, we don't have that problem. We've been having a ceremony every year on November 11th at 11 o'clock inside. There for a while, we were in front of the courthouse. We've always invited anybody, including former 518, all right, to be participant on this. We had one this year, all right, across the street in the First Baptist Church on November 11th. And I would like to maintain that, because if you have a ceremony, parade, you're blocking the streets. And that's not good for our parade. Nor is it good for the November 11th veterans. And as this young man said here earlier, veterans have nothing to do with skin color. Nothing. I spent 21 years on active duty. Vietnam, Desert Storm. When I was in that foxhole, I didn't care about if he was a male or female, Korean, white, or black. Only thing I cared about, he had my back, or she had my back. Simple as that. And we need to maintain that here in Camilla. Our veterans have served. I don't care, being a former Marine, I get upset because they don't consider Air National Guards. And that's wrong. To me, a veteran is a veteran. If you spend 180 days on active duty, to me, you're a veteran. But the VA don't see that. And I've been fighting that. I may not ever win. I'm only 66. And I don't know what tomorrow holds. But we need to maintain honoring our veterans. And everybody is subject to support, regardless of what you think of this country. Because those veterans had nothing to do with other than what they were ordered to do. Simple as that. And then when they say, well, you didn't go to combat. Well, how did you get your supplies? Did the people in America use civilians? No, they used service members, vehicles, to get that overseas.
And excuse me, Gunny. And just so everybody know, I'm referring to our speaker as Gunny because he's a former gunnery sergeant, and that's been our relationship since we met. But what I will do, you just hit 3 minutes, but obviously out of courtesy, sir, we'll give you 30 more seconds.
I appreciate it. I didn't know.
Yes, sir.
I'm a Marine, so you had to count it in there sometime, all right? Hey, don't say that too loud, sir. But I want us to consider not having a parade and start supporting the Veterans Day that we have across the street. Sometimes we move it around, okay? But we need to maintain inside, that way we have full participation. Thank you for your time, and simplify, sir.
Hoorah, sir. And Semper Fi, guns. Now, what I would say, and I appreciate you speaking on this, and that is the beauty of of our brotherhood, if you will,
Yes, sir.
as veterans. I think for the first time in Camilla's history, the city manager is a retired sergeant major, Army sergeant major, the mayor is a retired master sergeant of Marines, and so if there was ever a pro veteran leadership base here in the city, we had it. What I would say, though, is that one of the things that we can do in the military, we can do more than one thing at once, right? And I think that we can have a celebration on the 11th, and I think our veterans can also have a parade. May not be the same day.
Well, I agree. Yes, sir.
Indeed. So I think that conversation, if you will, and working out the logistics and having a parade and having the ceremony that you typically have on the 11th, I think is something that we can probably work out.
Okay.
And I would like to point out that for the first time in Camilla's history, last year we became a Purple Heart City.
I remember.
And for that reason, I want you to know, guns, and I want every veteran that within the sound of my voice know that we have a tremendous amount of respect for our veterans in this city and obviously in this country. And what we will do is, I think we can work that out. I think we can have both things, and everybody have enjoy.
I appreciate it, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I want to thank you all for your time. I'm 100% disabled, so I speak loud. I can't hardly hear. I have pains every day, but I'm still an active duty Marine, even though I'm on civilian time.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, brother.
Hoorah. So thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good job.
All right. Any other speaker appearances? Oh, yes, sir. Come on up, sir.
My name is Walter Anderson. I live at 104 Town Street on Purple Heart veteran, Vietnam veteran. And I brought that request to the city council last week, and I thought it was a good thing to do. And listen to John's he made a great statement, but one thing he forgot. He said on Veterans Day, hey Camilla, we've been separated for the long, for veterans to be separated. We've done had white program down at the courthouse, we done had black program, and it's time out for that. And he's still trying to bring the same thing. I'm trying to bring veterans together. It's time to let all that old stuff go. It's time for us to come to be veterans. I think it's a great thing to bring us together. And I'm trying to take it further. We need to stop all this other. White veteran, black veteran, we all one. When I was in Vietnam, I was in Foxhole, I was in the jungle. You understand what I'm saying? When I came back here, I couldn't even go in a building because I was black. But I'm able to pick up a rifle and fight. And that's a shame. 18-year-old man, go to war for his time, come back here, he can't go in the front door. Now I refuse to keep on living like that. I asked him one thing, and I think it's great. And I don't went out there, took the admission. I took $200 out of my pocket. I went to people that I know, and they contributed. I got over $600 right now for to have a money tree on Veterans Day, so we will have something better. But it's a shame. And it's time for us to stop talking about white program, black program. I'm sick of it. And I yield to the floor.
All right. Ms. Anderson, just real quick, just to clarify, the Veterans Day Parade, based on our conversations, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, for this year, we're going to have a Veterans Day dinner, and we're going to add, for the first time, a veteran float as part of our Christmas parade. But because you made that request, Mr. Anderson, and the idea is to work on a parade, Veterans Parade for next year, And again, and I'm pretty sure that we can deconflict any dates or times, if you will, to make that happen. But because you made that request, Mr. Anderson, who's also a former Marine, by the way, that you're good with that. Okay, good deal. All right, thank you. All right, so here's the deal. Typically, we'll continue to move, but I'm sure that I'll have unanimous consent from this council. I think two of our veterans have a final word. So go ahead, sir. Yeah.
I have one question. We're talking about veteran activities. Are we talking about the veterans throughout Mitchell County or just Camilla?
I think that's going to be part of the conversation, sir.
So right now, we don't know.
Well, sir, if just a moment ago, the idea was that the veterans that were just talking are going to get together and have a discussion about the overall. I would assume that the program that Gunny has been presenting has been a countywide thing. All right, so I would assume that will remain the same. What Mr. Anderson is requesting is a Veterans Day parade. From what I understand, I don't think he made a stipulation as it relates to Camilla only. I'm making the assumption that he needs the county, and I would assume that if someone came down from Albany, and from 521 and wanted to participate, they could do that too. But I think what we're going to have to do is work out the logistics of that. We're not going to do that tonight, obviously.
What do we do for veterans?
Sir?
Whatever we do for veterans.
Yes, sir.
That the county wise, as someone said, don't separate veterans themselves, see helping veterans from the middle veterans.
Yeah.
We do something to do it as a whole.
Yeah, and I don't think that was the intent, but I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Got it.
Yes, sir. You know, I don't want to get into this subject, but I get tired of hearing it. All right?
So, Gunny, here's the thing. If you want to follow up on your comments, if you will,
No, what was said, sir.
Okay, so we're not going to do that
All
right now.
right, okay.
Yes, sir.
It's-
Yeah, we're not going to do that, guys.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Thank
you. Appreciate that. All right. Any other comments? The mic is open. Any other speaker appearances? All right, so at this time, we will get into the public hearing related to the closing or the potential closing of the Perry Street Gym. And I think one of the things that I want to do is make sure that we all understand, and Scarlett, I don't know if you're able to pull up that email. All right. I've seen some comments, some social media posts related to the Perry Street Gym and the closing of it. And what I didn't see, and I guess this will be a separate conversation that I'll have with the county. But before I say another word, let me say this. I think that it is our partnership with the county and the folks that work over at the county are good folks. I think running our recreation program as part of our service delivery strategy, and basically that's just a fancy word for our partnership with the county. So I want to make sure that I preface my statements for the rest of the evening saying that the folks at the county are good folks. Tremendous amount of respect for the individuals over there. But I think when we're in this forum, facts do matter. And I want to make sure that those facts are communicated. So around September 13th, so that's about a month ago, got an email from Gary Rice, who's the county administrator. That email was to myself and the city manager. And what was said in the email, and I want everybody to understand, this email is the reason why we're here tonight, okay? I'm sending to make sure the gymnasium is ready for use, because he's letting us know that basketball season is coming up. The city of Camilla does not do recreation. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. So he's sending this to the mayor and to the city manager. Hey, I want to make sure that the gym is good to go. We got basketball season coming up. The children in the recreation program were unable to play some games this past season due to the temperature in the gymnasium. Okay? So I need everybody to understand, it's not something that just popped up overnight. The folks responsible for doing recreation sent the mayor and the city manager an email about a month ago and said, hey, well, I'll let you read it. I have been advised, even when the games were played in the gymnasium, it is extremely cold for the children. Now, those are not my words. It is extremely cold for the children. Now, it's my understanding that the season had to be stopped because it was so cold. And now we're headed back into it. Now, here's the irony. Here's the irony, right? Not only apparently did it get extremely cold, but apparently it gets extremely hot in the summer. I think the name has been called as the hot box or the heat box. You know, adjectives, if you will, that are related to the conditions that our children are operating in. This is the gym. All right. That was more information related to the gym. I'll get to that potentially here in a little bit. But anyway, you get the gist of what I'm saying with the pictures, right?
Yes, exactly.
What some of this council is suggesting, and the reason why we're having this public hearing, because we as adults in this community need to know the worth of our children. This didn't happen overnight. But I tell you what's going to happen tonight, though. Kicking the can down the road, ignoring it. Oh, they can go ahead and play in it till they get hypothermia,
That's right.
or they fall out because of the heat.
Mold poisoning.
You with me?
Mold poisoning.
This council, a majority of it anyway, we're on the verge of saying enough. And the reality is, if the county through our service delivery strategy, because the county doesn't own any of these buildings, we do. The city does. At the end of the day, can I just be completely honest with everybody? This is the responsibility of the city of Camilla. Why this wasn't taken care of prior to tonight, but there's a council in place right now that is saying enough. But, as I explained to the the city manager, it would be highly unfair to make that kind of decision without having a conversation with the citizens of this town. And this is why we're having a public hearing. So, at this time, if you would like to come and speak on this, the potential closing of this gym, the mic is open.
Mr. Mayor, Council.
And do me a favor, mister, is that green light on?
Yes. It's on.
Oh, it's on, okay, and just get it closer to you, there you go.
Mr. Mayor, Council, public, what the mayor has said is true. I'd like to start from the front and back up. A few years ago, the city had to do some roof repair and floor repair. At that time,
How long ago was that, sir? How long ago was that?
I don't know, 15, 20 years ago,
Okay.
at that time, the city was notified there were other things that needed to be done to the gym other than the roofs and the floors. 5 or 6 years ago, the recreation director, Mr. McCook, I think his name is and was, told the city council some of the needs of that Perry Street gym. All these years, as you said, nothing was done. We continued to play basketball, but nothing was done to improve, remodel, renovate the gym. If you do not upkeep your vehicle, lawn tractor, your health, it will go down. And we, the city of Camilla, allowed that gym to be in the shape that it's in now. We should have been repairing it all along. Other cities and counties have gotten a recreation grant, parks and recreation grants. As far as I know, no one in the county or city has ever sought a recreation grant. 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, WALB announced a park and recreation grant. I notified at least 4 or 5 elected officials to look into the grant. As far as I know, no one did. The grants are still out there. Other cities are refurbishing their historical gyms, auditoriums, city auditoriums. But we don't want to do anything. We spend time talking about why we cannot do, rather than burning energy seeking why we can do. We are in the shape that we are in. You've seen the pictures because we, and I say we, I live in the city, but I have always spoken up for the recreation department. I believe in recreation. To me, recreation is how you, the citizens, how your children and grandchildren utilize their leisure time. And we should be interested in providing wholesome, constructive leisure time. That's what recreation is all about. And we have gone from a 6-day workday to a 4-day workday. That means people have more leisure time than we've ever had. And some companies have already gone to a 3-day workday. We must prepare for how we're going to address leisure time for young adults and senior citizens. I'd like to play a little ping pong, badminton, shuffleboard, cards, chess. At one time, we had all those things in recreation. But because we did not appreciate and understand the value of recreation, we let it go. Recreation is more than just a ball program. We used to have ceramics.
And I'm not, don't lose your thought. Don't lose your thought. We're at 4 minutes now, and I think, in fairness, we're going to make it a little bit longer than the speaker appearances, if you will. If there's no objection from the council, I want to go to at least 5.5 minutes to allow folks to get the word out. But so starting now, we've got about 1.5 minutes, sir. You can go ahead.
But we have had other things other than ball programs. But we have skewed recreation to just ball. Recreation is more than just ball. We need to look around, go on the internet, visit other cities, states, to get a picture of what recreation is, not what you think it is, but what it is. And if you don't know, have some meetings to just discuss so we can learn from each other, how we can grow from each other about recreation. Yes, we need to remodel, rebuild the Perry Street Gym. We need to determine if it's going to cost more to remodel or to demolish. If we rebuild, I suggest let's rebuild with a standard size basketball court, because they have various sizes. A regulated size so that you can have tournaments, recreation or school. And striping for basketball, volleyball, and badminton. Thank you.
All right, if you don't mind, Mr. Jester, the grant that you mentioned, because you said that you contacted to include the mayor, members of the council. Do you recall the name of that grant?
Do I recall what?
The name of the grant?
No, I did not. I do not, and I did not tell the elected officials the name.
Okay.
I told them WALB announced that was a public parks and recreation grant, and they were asking people to apply. And I suggested to them, call WALB and get the specifics.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do at this time, and Mr. Jester, let me say, sir, that you are a person who obviously I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Your knowledge of history here in this city, your advocacy, even before I became mayor, is beyond reproach, sir. You have demonstrated in many ways your love for this community and your desire to see it do better things. So I want to say that. But I also, as I've said many times, as it relates to coming here in this forum, that information is key. And what I want to do at this particular time is share some information with you, Mr. Jester, and because you brought it up, and especially the part about sharing it with some of the council members, I want to make sure that everybody has the information. The first thing I want to say is this is a great forum for you to talk about recreation, what it is and what it isn't, and that type of thing. But I want to remind you, sir, that the recreation department for the county, for Mitchell County, belongs with the county commissioners. That's not a function of the city of Camilla. It's just our building. But I think it's important to remind everybody of that fact. But I also want everybody to understand that as a citizen, if you come to us, especially with a solution, I got information about a grant, that's going to get followed up on. And what I want to do right now, Mr. Jester, and if you like, sir, you can have a seat. You'll be able to see it, and I want to go ahead and share this with the public. So I think this is what Mr. Jester is talking about. WLB announced Georgia spent $250 million in COVID-19 cash to aid recreation. True story. The name of that grant, for those that want to do the research afterwards. And again, the reason why I'm sharing this with you, because I don't want anybody to leave here, especially Mr. Jester, thinking that you'll bring something to the council and it's not going to get researched. So the first thing I want you to know, and I think this is important, I got highlighted, well, the name of the grant is improving neighborhood outcomes and disproportionately impacted communities, all right? The deadline for this grant is November 18th. It's still open. So that's the first thing I want to make sure everybody understands. This wasn't something that was brought to the council's attention and it was just ignored, if you will. The grant is still open for about another month, right? But there's information inside of here that is equally important because this stuff, and Mr. Jester and our citizens, there's elements of this legislative process that you guys are not aware of. And that's why I take this opportunity every chance I get to educate the community on how this stuff actually works. So the deadline is November 18th. So it's still open. The city, the county, or anyone else, and you'll see that here in another slide, is able to apply for this grant. But this is why it gets a little bit complicated, everybody. And I'm going to thumb through, and I'm hoping these things are in order, but if they're not, I'll go back and try to find my way. Well, this is one of the next to the last slides, but I think it's important since it popped up, just for you to see what this means. So this is from the state grant authority entity, if you will, and they're called OPB. What is a cost reimbursement method? This is important, okay? You need to know the definition of this, and I think it's going to make a lot of sense to you here in a minute. Under the cost reimbursement method of payment, the grantee is required to finance its operations with its own working capital. So everybody get that, right? It's a grant. But if it's $2 million, $2.6 million, which is estimated, the city or the county got to pay that up front. And then give the state the receipts. You see right there at the end, they even italicize it. Costs are only reimbursed when they have been incurred and paid. So it ain't even good enough. It's not even good enough to have incurred it. The state wants you to pay it and then send us a receipt. So whatever the cost is, we have to pay this money up front. Here's who's eligible for this grant. A unit of local government, Camilla, the county, non-profits. You with me? The project must occur within a qualified census tract. Now, what does that mean? 20% of the folks have to be living in poverty. So, wherever you plan on doing this recreation, the poverty has to be so bad that you will rate the assistance, if you will, or the grant, right? But the reason why this slide is so important is because you see the part where it says nonprofits. It doesn't have to be the city. It doesn't just have to be the county, right? It can be a company. It can, well, and this is the part. Well, we can all team up and do it, right? No, that's not quite. It gets a bit more complicated than that. That's the part about the census tract. So this last census, the people living in that area have to be at a certain poverty level. This is the application. You see the titles? But this is the one I want you to see towards the bottom. Project timeline. Budget detail worksheet. So we have to tell the state exactly what do you plan on doing with this building? How do you plan on rehabbing it? How do you plan on rebuilding it? And tell us to the penny how much you're going to pay for it. That's not going to happen in a week or 3 weeks. In fact, we don't even know who. I see the county representatives in the back. Does the county got $2 million? They get started? Do we have $2 million to get started? How many years has the organization conducted a program for which it has requested funding? Now listen, here's the deal. This is why we were talking about service delivery strategy in the county. If the city applies for this grant, you see that first question? How many years has the organization conducted a program for which it has requested funding? For Camilla, we haven't. Because we don't do recreation. That's a county function. This is another portion of it. Please upload a comprehensive timeline that identifies milestones, the funding source for each milestone, numerical list, deliverables, indicates who is responsible for such activity. That is a serious conversation between governmental entities. Hey, county, how much you got? How much we got? We got to have that conversation. That's not a week-long conversation, everybody. Plan or sketch of site features and improvements. Please upload plans or sketch of site features and improvements. Well, first you got to identify who's going to be responsible for the $2 million. Then you got to hire somebody to do the plan and the sketch. Comprehensive. And then send that to the state. But you still got to figure out where you're going to get that $2 million. Now, the grant is for $2 million. The estimated repairs from a year ago is about $2.6 million. So going in the door, we're about 600 short already, but we still don't know who's responsible for paying for it. This is the slide that I want everybody to see. Payment method. This is the state telling us how we're going to get our money back. Can everybody see that? Payment method. Reimbursement method. Remember that first slide? And the definition of the reimbursement method? What that means is we have to have $2 million today. Today. To start building that gym. But even if we had $2 million today, we know a year ago it was going to cost 2.6. I know that there has been, and I appreciate you guys indulging in that. I know there's been a lot of emotion related to this gym over the last few days. But when you've been elected to lead, we don't have that luxury. We have to operate in the reality of the situation. Sometimes those facts are tough. They're hard. But that's why you elect us, right? To make the tough decisions. That's what we do. It's not Mr. Jester's responsibility to know this stuff. It's my responsibility. And when the time comes, it's my responsibility to share it with you. This is not an open and shut case, everybody. This is a very complicated case, and as Mr. Jester mentioned, this thing goes back 2 decades, if not more. And any indication that this is going to get fixed in a week or 2 is frankly not feasible. And what I would ask my county partners, that it would be helpful that if you don't know this information prior to social media, call the mayor. I get it to you. But putting this stuff out without the proper context is not good for our community. This is serious stuff. So that's my request. If you don't know, call me. Be more than happy to help you out. All right. Any other comments? Come on up, guys.
Mr. Mayor, and council, and citizens, I'm not even a citizen of this Mitchell County. I live in Newton. I wasn't born and raised in Camilla or Newton. As my wife says, I'm an implant because I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. But right here is the future of this county. One day they may be in your chair, and they need to have something that is hanging on the corner. And if they're hanging on the corner, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? We don't know unless we find out. I don't care if you were in the military or if you're on the city council. It's our responsibility to take care of these right here. So they grow up knowing that this city takes care of them and follows Baker County, all Doherty County, etc. And like I said, I don't live here, but I love to come over here because I enjoy shoplifting. So I should have a voice what goes on also. And this man that's your mayor has been there for me. And when I see something good, I call him. And when I see something wrong, I call him. That's my position. But right here, these two young ladies right here is the future of this county, along with other kids. And I don't care if it's the county or the city. There's no price tag to make sure they get right. And I just want to leave that in your mind. As like I said when I opened up, can you predict what November 11th weather's going to be? You can't predict what this future's going to be either, unless we take care of it now.
Indeed. Appreciate you, guys. Yes, sir. And I think that, well, first, any other comments related to this gym? Come on up, sir. State your name for the record for us.
I'm Michael Broom, president of the Mitchell County Recreation Department, so city council, manager, mayor. I'm appearing before you today to ask that you do not close the Perry Street Gym immediately. We're only 2 months away from starting the basketball season, currently have no suitable viable option to play for the upcoming season if this gym is closed. We understand there's issues with the gym, but nothing warrants closing it down immediately, in our opinion, that we're aware of. Some of the pictures that were shown were actually from back rooms or corners that there is no public access to or shouldn't be because those doors are supposed to be locked. Some of these doors have been kicked in, vandalized. We're in the process of trying to get that straightened out. But as far as the back rooms and side rooms, that's not supposed to be open for people to have access to get there.
So those restrooms are in the side room?
Got to the restroom.
Okay. Go ahead.
There is some issues with restrooms right now. They are unclean because we're not using the gym yet. Prior to the season, we do extensive cleaning, and the county uses the employees or help of to spend 4 to 6 hours a week in cleaning and prepping, and getting ready for public to come in. So those bathrooms are very unsanitary, but we're not using the gym right now. So that's why the dust build up, stuff like that. There is some water leaks that has to be addressed. We're aware of that, and we're planning to do before the season starts. Now we ask that you work with us on these issues so we can have a season. In 2021, we had 94 kids playing basketball, and in 2022, we had an increase of 20% to 113. This year, we're planning on having 120 to 140 kids. If more, that's great, but continuing the growth we've seen in other sports, we're looking for another 20% increase in basketball as well. Without the gym there, won't happen. Over the past 3 seasons, we've won 2 district championships, state runner-up, 1 state championship. Does not mention the life lessons that were taught over the years to these kids because of this gym. The comment made on closing the school or closing the gym for a game because it was too cold, yes, we did, for 1 game. We didn't cancel the whole season. We continued playing just that 1 day. But also, we can't predict the weather either. School's closed because there's a severe thunderstorm coming that day. So they'll close the school. They got heat, air, shelter, all that. Too cold, they'll close the school for a day. Well aware of that. But as far as kids getting hypothermia and stuff like that, we won't allow the kids to be in a position for that to happen. That's why we shut it down for that day. Georgia has a mild weather, it has a crazy weather. It could be 20 degrees a day, 80 degrees tomorrow. We can't predict that. So, with that being said, let us continue this year with our basketball season. Any improvements or whatever to see fit as far as possibly air. Because that's pretty much everybody's biggest thing is it's too hot or it's too cold. Work together on getting that fixed in the short term, and then after the season or after this meeting, discuss on the future upgrades of the Perry Street Gym and what we as a county and the city can do together to get something else going other than just shutting doors and saying good luck. We'd like to have the opportunity to finish this year because this informed us very quickly about the closing part, but yet we've been in the process of outsourcing, looking for other areas or looking for plans on building a new one, what the costs are, what it would take to get there. The board has been looking in that area. It's not been moving as fast as we would like, but yet what we've gotten, the numbers have been so outrageous, we didn't pursue them any further. We're trying different avenues to find something that is feasible to present. So.
All right. So here's a couple of questions I have for you, sir. You mentioned that you're just talking about the pictures back in the back room, if you will. Now you're not suggesting that it's just cold in the back rooms or it's just hot in the back rooms, right?
Anything that happens in the back rooms because we don't use the back rooms.
So
I refer to the gym floor itself where the kids play.
let me ask you more directly, sir. Did it get so cold in the gym they had to stop a game?
It got so cold that we stopped all games from being played that one day.
Okay. So what about the heat? Do you guys play in there during the summer?
We don't have recreation in there during the summer. However, we do practice football in there. I'm one of the football coaches. When it's raining, storming, we can't practice on the rec fields. We have used that to practice with tennis shoes. I mean, without tearing up the surface, but we have used it for practice purposes during the summer for football.
Sure. And you would agree that there's no air in there?
No, but when fences like that, we'll stick fans in the doors and have air circulating through. But it's no different there than it is out in the field.
Okay. All right. You mentioned life lessons.
Yes, sir.
And I think this is where we differ, sir. Holistically, for a certain segment of our population, the life lesson about knowing your worth is just as important as bouncing a ball. The conditions that you're allowed for recreation, the conditions, the building that you're in, sir, those are life lessons. I don't think that your opinion related to the building itself, as you just mentioned, that is no different than practicing in a gym without air, is no different than practicing outside. I'm sure you believe that. Obviously. And I just think this is where we differ. That we believe, because the gym doesn't belong to the county, right? The air just didn't go out this year. In fact, how many?
Probably 5 or 6 years, I think.
All right, in 5 or 6 years. Now, I've been to every city council meeting except for one in the last 4 years. Either sitting in the gallery or sitting up here. I don't recall once a conversation about the gym happening in this room from the county or any representative of the county in 4 years. See, what I'm saying, sir, is that whatever has been the procrastination, there's members of this council now that are prepared to say enough. To your point, we'll get to the the problem, if you will. If this gym closes and there isn't a basketball season, I assume that in very short order, the mayor will probably have a call meeting to try to figure out what do we go as a city. Where do we go from there? Because if the city has to make sure that the children of Camilla have the recreation that they need, we will put the infrastructure in place, personnel and all, to make that happen. Because right now, I know where $12 million is sitting. So it's going to be interesting to see what the county does as it relates to this season. And I can tell the citizens of this town that because the county is responsible for recreation, we will be watching closely to see what the folks that are responsible for recreation will do. And if the season is canceled because in 4 to 6 years no one has come here to talk about this, I suspect that this city council is going to get together and find out what we need to do to take care of our children. That's happening. So I hope that over the next couple of weeks, or however long it takes prior to practice, that the county and its leadership figure this out. And if you can't, I suspect that the city of Camilla will. So it is to say in one of the social media posts about the 2023 season being in jeopardy and all of that, if it's in jeopardy, we're going to do everything that we possibly can on this council to make sure that that is limited to that particular year. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important for you to understand that there are some on this council in good conscience, whether it's for one game, one day, 1 minute, that our children are operating in a facility where you have to say time out, everybody go home because the situation is so bad. So that's a problem. So with that, I yield. Anything else from you, sir? All right. Anybody else?
Sir, I'm gonna leave, but I got one thing I want to say concerning all this. All right?
You're gonna help me send you back to boot camp,
All
sir.
right, listen up. I may need it, all right? We've always donated, when I say we, Shriners, St. Jude, they got little counter things in each one of these stores out here. Why can't we have a jar, Mr. Coleman, that says public gym for the city of Mitchell County, and people donate? We just need somebody that's honest to make sure that money is put in the right place.
All right.
And on that, I have to leave. But I want to thank y'all for having me over here.
Hoorah. Simplify, brother.
Simplify.
Hoorah. Take care.
And as I said, that is our future right there.
Indeed. Thank you, guys.
Hoorah.
All right. Any other comments related to the potential closing of the Paris Street Gym? All right. At this time, I'm going to declare, come on up, sir.
Good evening, council. My name is Joshua Baggs. I live out in Hopeful, Georgia. I'm a farmer out there, so I'm a citizen of the county.
Excuse me 1 second, Mr. Baggs. Hey, everybody, if you don't mind in the gallery, if we can minimize the back chatter, we appreciate you. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Mr. Baggs.
I just want to address this council today, and with respect, and Mr. Pollard, I appreciate you coming to our meeting. And some of the things I might say might be repetitive of what I said Thursday night, but I have to speak from the compassionate side, and I think some of my parents that are here tonight will know that the rec department means the world to me. I'm a product of it, just like probably everybody in this room, just probably like most people on this council. I graduated from Mitchell Baker and I was fortunate enough to get a football scholarship to Florida State. And when the opportunity came, it was awesome. I learned so many life lessons from my coach. I know I got a lot of Georgia fans, but I played for Bobby Bowden, and he was one of the greatest men, God-fearing men that I know. He got mad one time, and it wasn't had anything to do with the practice. It was about how to be a man, because football was going to end. And that's the way I go about this rec department, because there are so many people that still have businesses that were my little league coaches. Tommy's Tire, Mr. Tommy Cowell, Mr. Dana Broom, who works in the courthouse, Coach Ayers, who they still come out and rep church softball games. I know the shape that the gym's in, but I know that condemning it, so many youth will not have somewhere to turn to for that window. In the sense of, you can ask my players, they're practicing right now. They're more than just my players. I got 30 sons out there. And some of the conversations we have on the way home is, let me see your report card. Bring it to me. Because like you said, Mayor, it's more than just sports. And I take it to heart because it does mean so much to me because it has played every part of my life. I just come to this council and I'm pleading that we as the recreation department, as a city council, as the county commissioners can work together. Any differences, put them aside, because our youth, they are it. Just like I said before, each of us have probably come through this recreation department. Those same youth now are going to sit in your seats one day. Those same youth are going to be county commissioners one day. Those same youth are going to be coaching football. Those same people are going to be running businesses in this town. But if we don't have those opportunities for them, they're going to find opportunities elsewhere, in other places. Those fond memories that they will have in this county, in this city, will take place in other places, and they won't want to come back to raise their families here. I grew up in Hopeville, but I played at Mitchell Baker, and this city means the world to me as well as my county. I will do whatever it takes to make sure that this recreation department prospers. And that's all I'm asking, is that I'm just pleading that, Mr. Mayor, I love the idea that there are some funds available. I'll go and beg the county commissioners. I'll beg this council. I will do whatever it takes for me. Because I love those boys. I love each and every one of them. When I'm not farming, I'm on a baseball field, a football field, a basketball court. The youth mean the world to each and every one of us.
And Mr. Baggs, I want to thank you, because I think that unfortunately there isn't, from time to time, there isn't enough for guys like yourself, men like yourself, that take the time to volunteer and coach. I think that is, all kinds of awesome, if you will. But I want to make sure that, again, for you, Mr. Baggs, and for the public watching, that this is beyond the gym, if you will, because there are a lot of tangible things being talked about here tonight. But I think for us, or for some of us, the idea is more intangible, if you will. Sir, there are no differences. What the issue is procrastination. As I pointed out just a moment ago, I've been here 4 years. This is the first time someone has come and talked about the way of the gym, or the future of the gym. And the only reason why I'm assuming that we're talking about it now is because of the potential of it being closed. And I would say also that, again, even in this forum and even in this conversation, the city of Camilla is not responsible for recreation. So what I'm expecting, or what I'm suggesting, sir, is that in a lot of ways it's the wrong audience. And the fact that this has not been addressed, and I know in the beginning when the county was working on their budget and these types of things, I get it. But as we've pointed out before, this is not something that has happened overnight. This is decades of problems. You mentioned that the life lessons that these kids will learn. Sir, some of us believe that it's okay for a child to have heat. It's okay for a child to have AC. I don't think you have to give up the humanity of athletics and humanity for the sake of training. I believe we live in a world in 2022 where a child can have a clean bathroom to go to and practice basketball. I believe that a child can have heat while they're playing and still play basketball. I believe a child can still have AC at the very same time they're practicing basketball. What some on this council is saying, Mr. Baggs, is that our children, what we're saying, finally, is that our children can have it all. Not just part of it. They can have it all. And we're going to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that our children have it all. And in the process of leadership, sir, sometimes tough decisions have to be made to eventually get to where we need to get to. And I think tonight, potentially, is the first step of giving our children all that they deserve. So, I yield.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with everything you have to say. It's why I'm involved as I am. I feel like our children, our youth, they should have everything. And they should know that everybody cares for them and loves for them. And again, my parents will know, I offer tough love on the football field. And I know we're talking about the heat and the cooling. And like I said, I'm not sitting here saying that the gym, it needs work. I'm not sitting here arguing that point. Like I said, I'm sitting here begging this council. I have talked to commissioners. I'm just asking that we all can work together because the county doesn't own anything. I get that. It's a county organization. The city owns it. So it's kind of, we have to meet in the middle and we have to prioritize and put the youth first. Corey, you sat in some of our meetings where we discussed plans and everything, and Mayor, you came when you first got in office when we were just getting established as a rec department board. We didn't have that before. Mm-hmm. So, and I know as a council, y'all have a lot of plans that come before your desk, and there's some things before they can go public, they get thrown by the wayside because of the amount. If we came in here and said, hey, we found some plans and $7 million, we would not even be allowed in the building. So we're trying our best to do our due diligence. And even with the gym, if there's someone we can see structurally sound, if we can put ceiling heaters in there that can heat the building to make sure we have that. And like Michael talked about, the detail crew comes in. We're not in there until this time of year. We have crews come in there, get the place cleaned up, bathrooms and everything else. So all I'm asking is that we have alternatives. I pray if we can work together to keep this gym alive just for the duration, if we can get the process going of getting some plans in place, that we can build a new gym or remodel the current one. I just ask that we can work together as a city, as a county. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I support it. I just know, as I know that obviously by everybody that's here tonight and the discussions we're having, how important the youth are. I know it's a cliche that's said too much, but it's the truth. They are our tomorrow. They are our tomorrow. Thank you.
I got good news for you, Mr. Baggs.
Yes, sir.
Got good news for you. There should not be any doubt in anyone's mind leaving here tonight and watching on Facebook. One way or the other, this problem is going to get fixed. It may not be the outcome that some may want, but we're done playing this game right here. It's going to get fixed, sir. And over the next couple of weeks, members of this council will be paying close attention to see what the county does. And from that point forward, if it's time for the city of Camilla to do its thing, I promise you, we will.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
I'll just add that, Mr. Bass, a lot of conversation, and definitely I agree that these kids are our future. I love our youth. Recreation have been my life. I have traveled, and I still do travel with recreation. But I will also ask my parents and everyone else that really is involved in recreation. When we go off to other places, do we have to work, or do we have to see our kids in the conditions that we are actually talking about leaving our kids in? We don't see those conditions. We see, when we go off, we see that the recreation departments have partnered with schools, because most of the time that's where they're playing it, in schools. And we travel. We don't complain about the money that we have to spend, what it takes to get there. We don't know how to get there, but we travel because we love recreation, our kids. But just that same pride, we must take in knowing and put it embedded within us that we can't allow conditions to be a get by. These conditions that we're actually talking about our kids continue to play in is just that, a patch up. The problem don't get fixed by patching it up. It still exists. What you saw in those pictures, those was not dust. That is not nothing that no one can come in and clean up. You can't clean up that. That has gotta be removed. But am I suggesting that we tear down this gym? It's been a heart and soul for many. The community, the school, the rec. But when are we really serious about recreation? Are we really serious about recreation here in Mitchell County? Because if we are serious about recreation here in Mitchell County, the responsibility is not the bearing of one city. And that's the city of Camilla.
Sure.
That is not our bearing. And to have that conversation, I have heard it mentioned more than one time tonight, Mitchell County. I'm glad you said it. Mitchell County, this is the city of Camilla. We have a governing body of the city of Camilla just as well as your county has a governing body, which are, by means of name, commissioners. This conversation got to be had with the commissioner. Let them know how you really feel. Let them know that you're paying taxes because you really believe in recreation. And that you are tired and you want to be taken serious. That's the conversation that has to be held with your county commissioners. But do I believe that we all can come together and work? Yes. I do believe it. But again, the bigger problem is not your city of Camilla. It's what Mitchell County gonna do. It's time for Mitchell County to step up. Because we are done taking mediocre and put our kids in these conditions that they should not be put in. Not one time did you see a running faucet for water. I know the ins and outs, just as well as some of our parents out there. Yeah, you know the ins and outs. And you know those conditions should not be where your kids should be proud or take place in playing in. You know that. And see, that's sad. Because that's the heart and that's what we do believe. That's all we have. No, I beg you tonight, it's a matter of a will. It's a matter of a will. Because that is not all we have. So I yield at that we do come together. But as mayor, I echo the mayor, this problem will be fixed. One way or the other, it will be fixed. Is it gonna happen overnight? I doubt it. But the problem will be fixed. And I look forward to hopefully we can move forward with the county. I yield back at that.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Camilla, and I live at 288 Palm Street, and my son is a product of the Michigan County Rec Department. He's been playing the rec department since he was 3 years old. He is a part of the 2 teams that did win the district championship. And no, and I understand those conditions are not approvable, but at the same time, we're not asking that you not make it right or better, because I know that my son deserves better. But at the same time, we're just asking that you don't just snatch it from him just like that, because right now, that is all they have. That is all they have. And not saying that it's you all's fault, just like you said, it's the county. And no, it didn't just get like that overnight. It's been like that. So at the same token, let's move forward. Let's work together and move forward. But at the same time, just like Coach Brad said, that if you take it from them, right, if you snatch it from them, who's to say that they won't go out and do something else in the next few couple of months? Because I work in the school system, I work with the Michigan County school system, I work with Boys and Girls Club. Those children are being excited about talking about basketball these last few weeks already. They're excited and ready for basketball. So just to say, oh, we're not going to have basketball, you know, that's an epic failure for some children, because that's all that they do have. And no, just like I said, no, those conditions, those are horrible. But no, it's not going to get fixed if y'all say that, oh, we're gonna tear it down, or we're gonna renovate or fix it. But you're not gonna do it right now. So if basketball season on a couple of weeks, okay, we can make amends. Okay, we've survived all this long time. Just being honest. We've survived all this long time. So why just snatch it from them like that just out of nowhere? That's my approach. Just take it, because like I say, my son, he eats, sleep, and dream ball. No, everybody can't be the doctor. Everybody can't be the lawyer. Everybody can't be the accountant. Everybody can't be the mayor. That sports is a lot, and some stuff that some children do have. So that's all they know, and that's what keep a lot of children out of trouble. You got children now, 7, 8-year-old, carrying guns, book bags, doing all these things. But because of that rec department, these coaches, Coach Derek Williams, these coaches who take out time to make amends for these children, even though they know that these conditions, we've been complaining about those conditions for years. But at the same time, we hold on to it because that's all we got. We have to emphasize on what we have. We want better, and yes, we deserve better. But at the same token, why just snatch it from them just like that right there? It's only a couple of weeks. We can make amends. That's what I feel like. We can make it do, and then move forward, not to just take it away from us.
Well, Ms. Anderson, I really do appreciate your passion, and thank you, obviously, for all that you do. I know that you mentioned that that you work closely with the Boys and Girls Club. As you know, or if you haven't heard, the majority of this council recently approved $2.5 million to build a new Boys and Girls Club. Because that building belonged to the city of Camilla, and we thought it was time, the majority of us thought it was time that they needed a new facility. And myself and the city managers had a conversation today related to the plans of that new building. So we're committed, the majority of us are committed to making sure that our children have the resources that they need. Here's what I would recommend. And we've said this tonight a few times. The city is not, to use your vernacular, my friend, snatch it up just like that. You know what I mean? That's not us. We're not doing anything other than saying to the county, the conditions that this building is in, from some of our perspective, is unfit for any child. Why the county has not made provisions, you just heard one of the coaches say, They knew about this issue 10 months ago, last year. Why they haven't made provisions so that it's not snatched away, I have no idea. You would have to ask them that. But I want to make sure that it's understood that whatever planning or lack of planning to make sure these kids have a basketball season doesn't end here with the City Council of Camilla. You would have to have a comprehensive conversation with them to say, how come, if you guys knew and there wasn't no heat in here a year ago, why did you just now send the mayor and the city manager an email a month ago? So we are dealing with literally the hand that we've dealt. We now know, the city council, that building should not be having children in playing any type of sport. And we have to, unfortunately, consider what we're going to do as it relates to that. Because the things that we've mentioned tonight, a few words come up, like liability. We know now that there's an issue, a huge issue. And unfortunately, from the leadership side of the house, that's going to have to get dealt with. But the good news is, the folks that are responsible to making sure your child has a good season this year is behind you in the back of the room. And I think between now and the next month or so, I think you should have a very comprehensive conversation with them to see what their plan is. But we'll be paying attention also. All right, Ms. Anderson, thank you so much. Come back some more. Come on back, man. Thank you. All right. Yes, sir, absolutely.
I wanted to chime in too.
Absolutely.
And was looking for my place to chime in, and I think it was a perfect segue from Councilman Pollard in the mayor's last comments, is that, you know, we are beginning tonight, we're doing a thing that is going to make sure that we are making sure that we are, we're getting our worth, our taxpayers' worth. And I don't want this conversation to end here. I have a few dates. The Mitchell County government meets twice a month. Their next meeting will be on the 31st of this month. And they meet on the second Tuesday as well for their planning sessions. And I encourage all people that are very passionate about this subject and that do not want this season to end, because in my opinion, it doesn't have to. You all can demand alternatives from your recreation department. You can demand alternatives from your county commission board. Ask for more. Just as you came to this meeting tonight, you all have time to still demand more. I have the pleasure of serving alongside some of the gentlemen here tonight on the recreation board, and in our May meeting, this same topic was discussed, and I gave Mr. Jeb Bell, the recreation director, some alternatives to try and partner with our school systems to make sure that our kids are having a better place to play in and to practice in. And I'm not sure how far that conversation has gone, but I do feel like there's still time to make that happen. What we're doing again here tonight is really letting this community know and really trying to instill in our community. And you all have said that you all are aware of it, that we deserve more and that we deserve better. And I really hope that you all take this same energy and channel it to the county commission, who's directly responsible for this programming, who's directly responsible for this basketball season, and to ensure that they do what they have to do so that your kids are not engaging in alternative activities if indeed that this season gets canceled, because we're saying that enough is enough and that they will not play in that gym. That this county commission has a better excuse than to end the whole season just because one facility is not available. And I yield the floor.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. All right. Any other questions related to the public hearing? Going once. All right. At this time, I'm going to declare that the public hearing related to the potential of the Pear Street Gym closing, I'm going to declare that this public hearing is closed. All right. Now we get into the agenda for tonight. And as mentioned before, we're going to go ahead and move the Perry Street Gym to item A. All right, council, I'm gonna ask, Councilmember Tucker, you're reading tonight, but I want to know that you want to go ahead and set this up, or you want me to ask for this from the floor?
I'm prepared.
Okay, yes ma'am, floor is yours, ma'am.
The mayor and the council held a public hearing to discuss and receive citizen feedback and comments on the closure of Perry Street Gym due to safety, sanitation, and environmental concerns.
All right, is there a motion? Position West, appreciate that. Is there a motion to close the Perry Street Gym until further notice?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion to properly second. Any discussion?
I'd like just to offer a little bit of discussion on it. One thing that I heard and noted that was similar in the conversations that Coach Jester had, that Commander Williams had, that Josh Baggs had, and Councilman Pollard had, was a very similar thing, and that was more dialogue and work together. And that's what has been missing in this piece for us to be able to come to a conclusion together, rather than you just learning about the closure of it the way you did. And so I still think that there is that time for us to protect that basketball season and still have dialogue and conversation with all of us coming to the table. And I will take this opportunity to also go back and revisit something that I have been discussing for, I would say, 8 or 9 months now. The need for all of us to come together and form a recreation authority that is countywide so that we can see about really doing growth in recreation and having the facilities that we see when we go visit other communities. Our family's a family of recreation as well. I grew up in recreation, playing all sports, and I have 3 sons who also played all sports in recreation. And so we have traveled to a lot of communities that have incredible facilities because recreation authorities were formed to do that. So I'll still stand behind championing that, but I wish that we could have more conversation about coming together to have that conversation.
Yes, sir.
I agree with Councilwoman Tucker that the only common sense thing I've heard tonight about this is that the gentleman from the county recreation department, that without this gym we have nothing for the recreation basketball for our youth. It needs to be fixed so it can be used. I don't think it's to the point that it can't be done in a reasonable amount of time, but the other alternative that's been mentioned here, we're looking probably 2 years down the road, we won't have a gym. And probably 2 times the money that's been in this proposal that's 2 years old already. So the only common sense thing to do is to repair it and use it until we can make another plan to do something different.
All right. Any other discussion? Yeah, and again, everybody, I just want to make sure everybody understands what's happening here tonight. The county, the folks responsible for recreation, has an opportunity to figure this out. I don't understand what the confusion is. The air just didn't go out yesterday. The heat just didn't go out yesterday. So I don't understand why, when folks are talking, they're talking in the context of something that just happened 2 weeks ago. This has been 20 years in the making. And again, this is my 4th year in this awesome town, and this is the very first time anyone has come here and talked about this. And whereas I can appreciate some that are talking and discussing the items here tonight, for 4 years, it hasn't been mentioned. So where I can appreciate this newfound need for recreational authorities and coming together, these kids have been going through this for decades. And I think for some of us, we're just saying, somebody needs to finally say enough. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be rest assured, there will be a solution. One way or the other. And I hope that members of the county team will take this remaining time that they have before the season starts and find an alternative for these children. Councilman Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Just want to let the public know that I am for recreation, never against recreation at all. But my thing is, you mentioned earlier about liability. We're looking at the safety of our citizens and our kids. And as we looked at the photos there, it showed the unsanitized places, the environment wasn't really up to par, and even if we try to fix this, we still got to get it inspected by code. And we probably won't even ever meet code. We probably don't meet code now. I understand that folks have been dealing with this issue for years. As long as I can remember, it's been like that. I'm tired of it. Our children deserve better than that. Our parents deserve better than that. You go into other facilities and see how nice they are, but then when you come to Camilla, we put so much in it, we don't have a place suitable for anything. And yes, it lays back on the county commission. You know, I love the dialogue for tonight, but I think we are the wrong person to talk to when it comes down to recreation. We don't do recreation. County commissions are the ones that should be with their backs against the wall. What are they gonna do? They're responding. How did you use it? There was a lot of funding, but you didn't use it. So my suggestion, recommendation is, we'll love to have talk with them, but I think the directors and ones on that board need to talk to the county commission to make sure that they are on the same line. Let them know that recreation is very important to you all. And I heard the passion that each one of you all had tonight. Great passion. Do your commissioners know this? The passion that you have about it. But we as a city, it's our facility. But at the end of the day, we got to do our due diligence for us taking care of what belongs to us. If it's not safe, why would we want folks to go in and play in it and do all of this? Who to say? The ceiling just won't collapse on one side. Now, parents and citizens suing the city because it's our responsibility. So we don't move forward on this. And once again, I am for recreation. And we got enough of time to collaborate with other entities, the school board and all of those individuals to try to make some kind of arrangement to better or make the season happen. But I yield back the floor, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you.
Can I
Yes, sir.
comment on something, Mr. Mayor?
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. Over the past 2 weeks, I've had the opportunity to walk through the gym twice. And each time I walked through, I took some pictures and made some notes. So I'll tell you tonight, it's more than just cleanup. What I discovered was that your ceiling, or our ceiling, is extremely compromised. The structural cracks is just not cracks, it's structural damage.
the front wall has already got deflection in it, meaning that's major separation. Meaning what he just said, the council member Burley, that's a safety hazard. It even was written in the report 2 years ago that it was a structural cracks that's causing major deflection. And if you ever seen up in a living room of an old building, you saw cracks down from the ceiling, that's usually a good sign of foundational problems. And that's what you're gonna see at our gymnasium. There's also lots of peeling paint. And of course that facility was painted a long time ago. So you know that means possibly lead based. And then there's water intrusion. If you go about half court on both sides, you will see dark spots indicating that there's been rainwater seeping in. And whenever you see something dark and moisture, you know that equals something else that's bad. And then of course, if you look up at the heating unit as soon as you walk inside, ladies and gentlemen, you will see what the day that twice that I walked in smelled terribly like gas. So I looked up at the units, and if you will go and look at those things, and Mayor showed you a picture, they haven't been serviced in a long time. So right now I will tell you, you have structural damage, you've got old peeling paint, you've got water intrusion, your ceiling is compromised, not to mention the heating unit. The building has major problems. It's more than just cosmetics. And with that, I yield back to Mr. Mayor.
All right, appreciate you, Mr. City Manager, and I just want everybody to understand that what the City Manager is saying is echoed in the report that we had done a couple of years ago, where it was estimated to take about $2.5 or $2.6 million to repair. But the one sentence that sticks out to what the City Manager just mentioned, the roof structure is comprised of both steel and wood. The issues surrounding this particular building, as the City Manager has mentioned, and these are fresh eyes. So, I mean, the City Manager has no bone in this anyway. His thing is to go over and see what's going on. And this place is in bad shape. So, appreciate that, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other comments?
I just wanted to reiterate that date one more time. The County Commission will meet tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And I surely hope that all that are watching, those that have children in recreation, my coaches, our board members, that we all show up and channel the same energy to those that have the responsibility to ensure that our kids still have an option to engage in basketball this season. So that's tomorrow at 5 o'clock at their new complex. And I yield the floor.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? All right. Madam Clerk, this will be a roll call vote. And again, everybody, the motion is to close the Perry Street Gym until further notice.
Councilman Tucker?
No.
Councilman Burley?
Yes.
Councilman Morgan?
Yes.
Councilman Collins?
No.
Councilman Pollard?
Yes.
And Councilman Song?
No.
Mayor votes yes. The Perry Street Gym is to be closed until further notice. All right, motion carries. Thank you, Council. All right, Councilmember Tucker.
The Mayor and Council reviewed resolution number 2022-10-10-1 to update the city's joint comprehensive plan as part of the requirements to maintain its qualified local government status. The City Council recommends approval of resolution number 2022-10-10-1 along with the accompanying report of accomplishments and the 2022 to 2026 Community Work Program, and authorizes the mayor to sign. This comes in the form of a motion.
Motion has been properly second. Any discussion? All right, Council, if you look at the that document, you will see that there is an attachment to that resolution. And that attachment has the resolution number on it. And the reason why I asked that happened is because I want to make sure that going forward, we know exactly what we were voting for as it relates to the items on that list. So if you have any questions regarding that, that'll be a good time to do that. But I just want to make sure that you're voting on this list as presented, and having in addition the resolution number attached to the work program and the other item. Any questions regarding that?
Can we confirm there were no changes made since we had our public hearing to this?
No.
Okay. Thank
No.
you.
And because, and that's a great question, Councilmember Tucker. And the main reason is that if something does get lost in the sauce, if you will, we'll be able to come back to what we actually voted on if we need to. So just know that what you're voting on is as presented and within those documents. All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item B, the mayor and council reviewed a film production policy to invite and encourage film production in Camilla utilizing city property and facilities. The policy has been reviewed and approved by the city attorney, and the council recommends approval of the policy. This comes in the form of a motion.
Second. I have a motion that's been properly second. Any discussion? All right, so council, what I want everybody to know and the public, Georgia, state of Georgia right now is operating at this is a $4 billion industry. Would it be in Georgia? And prior to tonight, on this vote, if a film production company called us and said they wanted to film in our city, there was no policy in place to say, come on down. It is time for the city of Camilla to get in on this. $4 billion a year. This is how we grow revenue without taxes and without raising rates. We have to think outside the box, and I think in an industry of $4 billion, it's time for us to get in this game in a major way. All right. I have a motion to probably second. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council.
Item C, the mayor and council discussed a partnership with the House of Hope to administer the utility assistance program. The program was approved for additional funding on September the 12th, 2022, and provides financial assistance to City of Camilla utility customers meeting established participation criteria. The council recommends approval to enter into a contract with the House of Hope to administer the program and authorizes the mayor to sign. This comes in the form of a motion.
Second.
I have a motion that's properly second. Any discussion? All right, this is the city's first or second go with this. We did 10,000 a couple of months ago. That went pretty quick, and it was a very popular program. And obviously, folks are hurting still in this city, and this ARPA money that's what it's here for, to help our citizens out. So with that being said, we're doing another 10,000. This time partnering with the House of Hope. So just want to remind everybody that this is our second time around doing this. All right. We have a motion to properly second. Any other discussion?
And this is available after the vote. Are citizens able to begin applying for this?
Sure. And what I would recommend is anyone interested in this program to give House of Hope a call. As early as tomorrow. and see exactly if they're ready to roll. They should be. I'm going to sign this tonight, so with your approval, obviously, and we'll just go from there.
Application should be getting started taking Wednesday.
Cool. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Mr. Stroud, could you also make the council aware of the House of Hope's contact information? As
Yes.
we have citizens who might be interested, we can refer them.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll email it out to all of you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, council. All right, got a motion properly second. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council.
Item D, the mayor and council discussed authorizing city manager Stroud to seek a third-party company to provide a cityscape analysis plan for the downtown area. The council recommends approval to authorize the city manager to move forward with locating a company to provide the plan. This comes in the form of a motion.
Second. We have a motion properly second. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Where is the money gonna come from to, pay for this plan?
Economic development. I'm sorry.
Limit on the amount of money. Is he gonna come back with 50?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, once I acquire credit, maybe 2 or 3 different companies, nothing will be done before I bring it back to you all.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. We have a motion that's been properly second. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council.
Item E, the mayor and council discussed the funding of an ARCS grant and allocating $10,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds. The grant will provide financial assistance to artists, production companies, musicians, and art-related activities in the city of Camilla. The council recommends approval to allocate $10,000 from ARPA funds for the arts grant program. This comes in the form of a motion.
We have a motion been properly second. Any discussion? All right, council. So as you can read this motion here, we're allocating $10,000 for this arts program. This is the first that we've ever had here in the city to do this way, if you will. The chamber has agreed to perform this service for us. We're still working out the details in terms of the what that would look like in terms of the contract and especially what the parameters would be. But just to give you some preview, you're going to need to have whatever you're putting on, that's your art show, your play, or whatever, it has to happen within the corporate city limits of Camilla. And if you are an artist that's up in Albany, if you will, as long as your play is happening here in the city and the proceeds are here in the city, we want to encourage artists, especially local artists, to take advantage of this program. And as long as it's happening here in the city, you're more than welcome to apply. And council, for the details of this and what the parameters will be, you will have an opportunity to see that again. What we're doing right now, for the purpose of the city manager to set this money aside, is allocating the $10,000 for this purpose. And I suspect by November you will see the actual language associated with it. Again, the chamber has agreed to do it, and we're just going to work with our city attorney to lock down the actual parameters of it. But again, you'll have an opportunity to see that before the final nail, if you will. Any questions?
I have a question, but I propose that you set a deadline for November for us to see this in writing, plan of action from which this money will be dispersed.
Absolutely. I think that's fair. Absolutely. All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council.
Item F, the mayor and council discuss the use of a conservation easement within the corporate limits of Camilla to facilitate improvements for businesses in Camilla. A conservation easement will be executed by the property owner and the city of Camilla while property improvements are in progress. The council recommends approval and use of the conservation easement for business properties in the corporate limits of Camilla and contingent upon receipt of the easement document from the city attorney. This is in the form of a motion.
Second.
I have a motion that's been properly second. Any discussion? All right. Tommy, did you want to weigh in a little bit?
Sure, Mayor. We already have a facade easement program, as you know, through the DDA. Authorities have specific powers that they're able to grant money sometimes to private businesses, but the general government can't. And the properties, I understand, Mayor, we're talking about are those that are outside the area of service for the Downtown Development Authority. So how this works is environmental things called a conservation easement. In our case, will be the facade of a building. And they'll grant or give us an interest, an easement really, to the facade. And the reason they'll have to do that is we can't give the private party money. That's a gratuity. We just can't grant it to them. But if we have an interest in it, then we can fund that, then we'll convey it back to them later. I did take the liberty of just cracking out some ideas. This is not something y'all need to do. I took what we were already doing, Mayor, and added some things to it. And that's just a suggestion to begin a discussion about how the program will look. I think we're pretty much ready to go with the easement part. It'll be specific to each property.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you. Yes.
I have looked at this, but this is pretty much like the DDA.
Pretty much. I took the, Don sent me the DDA program. I used some of those and added a few little things in here. Part of his concern was, do we want to give this to a chain that just arrives? I made it a historic property. Y'all may want to do something different with that. It had been an older building, so those are the kind of things I think we need to just take a look at. But pretty much, it follows what you're doing already. They'll need to go in and do the work, and we'll pay 50% of it if you use this. But I have no pride of authorship in any of that. If you want to pay 100%, that's up to you. But that's just what we've been doing in the downtown area, I think. Isn't that right?
And this will be restricted to the property owner, of course.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Coleman.
In one property, I mean, it's just, you know, we can't give it to several different people. It'll be the property owner for a specific piece of property.
Mr. Coleman, am I overlooking a cap? I think the one the DDA has also has the 50% grant, but then it's up to a cap where, so.
I didn't get that because
Okay.
I just put it in there, but that's up to y'all.
Okay.
This is-
5,000 max, so it'd be a $10,000 cap on the program. Okay. Just thought we might want to include a cap in there.
Okay. All right, so council, I recommend having a look at this between now and the work session in November, because this is something that we need badly here in the city. Because the work we've done downtown, we really need to start seeing that on 19. We've got businesses here that are ready to improve their facade, and I think that we should give them the assistance or grant, if you will, to do that. And I think it's going to be great for us long term, and this also will be paid out of the Economic Development Fund. So I think one of the things you need to be discussing or thinking about between now and November is what will be the cap related to the amount that we want to set aside for that. So, so between now and November's work session, I think it would be time for us to start building this.
Once again, Mayor, I didn't pass this out for y'all to adopt this.
Oh, sure, no, absolutely,
Just
absolutely.
a beginning of discussion about what you want to look like.
Absolutely. I think it'll be, and Tommy, we appreciate you because this is going to help start that conversation in November. All right. Any other questions? So there is nothing to vote on tonight, everybody. And Councilmember Tucker, please correct me if I'm wrong. You didn't offer a motion on this.
I did,
Okay.
and Councilman Palmer, I believe it was Palmer, seconded if we need to withdraw the motion. But it does say contingent upon receipt of the easement document from the city attorney.
Great
So
point.
I think that it's crafted in a
Absolutely.
way that we could leave it.
I think so. You're absolutely right.
It's a real estate transaction, so you're gonna have a number of documents.
Sure. Perfect. All right. Thank you, Councilman Tucker. All right, we have a motion, it's been properly second. Any discussion? Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council.
Item G, the mayor and council discussed a communications and marketing plan for the city of Camilla. The plan defines the messages, priorities, strategies, and tools the city will use when communicating with the community. The plan matches the city's strategic priorities, thereby furthering the mission, guiding principles, and enhancing community pride.
All right. Council, is there a motion to approve the communications and marketing plan as submitted? Motion. Second. We have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All right. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Mayor votes yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Council.
Item H. The mayor and council discussed the need to remove vegetation blocking the river screens on pond number 1 and 3 at the spray field and clogging the river screens, pulling water from the ponds. Stillwater Engineering recommends the vegetation be removed to prevent additional problems at a cost of $32,000. The council recommends approval to authorize removal of the vegetation at the Sprayfield ponds using the Municipal Electric Authority of Georgia, MEAG Municipal Trust Funds designated for the Sprayfield project as a funding source.
Motion. We have a motion that's been properly second. Any discussion? So I want everybody to witness what is happening here. The city council, majority of the city council drew down $1.5 million related to the spray field. Sometime after that, subsequently, we received notice that we have been approved for a GFA loan for $1.5 million with $700,000 forgiven. That money now, and I asked our engineer when he came here, was it possible for us to start working on this project prior to us receiving the loan from GFA, who they don't meet until January. So we've got 2 more months for the board to meet to actually consider funding this project. But our engineer is telling us that we need to get hot on this now. So from my perspective, it's a good thing that we have this money available to do exactly what we drew it down to do. So I am extremely proud of the majority of this council that had the foresight to get this money here for things just like this. And Mr. City Manager, do you have any comments related to what this is and why it's important?
Yes, sir. To echo what you just said, Mr. Mayor, I spoke to Stillwater's, our engineering firm today, and I've also given him one other firm to look at. But the essence, the importance of the work still has to be done. As a matter of fact, even though we're going into cooler weather, the vegetation is still there. So The quicker you guys bless me to move forward with this, to be the better.
All right. All right, any other discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, this will be a roll call vote.
Councilmember Tucker,
Yes.
Councilman Burley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
No.
Councilman Collins,
Yes.
Councilman Pollard,
Yes.
and Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, Council.
Item I, the mayor and council discussed refunding the MEAG Municipal Trust Flexible Account 1.5 million for the spray field project. The city is awaiting approval of a loan application for 1.5 million from the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority for repairs to the spray field. The loan application, if approved, will have a loan forgiveness amount of $710,100 and a principal loan amount of $789,900. The council recommends refunding $1.5 million to the MEAG Municipal Trust Flexible Account. I do believe it was mentioned last week after the time the GFA, I believe that was part of what the proposal was last week. It said after the GFA.
Right.
This would be any funds left over after GFA had been applied, and it doesn't indicate that in the motion.
Well, there was an issue, before we did approve the agenda tonight, so there was an issue that you saw fit, so I'm mistaken that should have been pointed out again, but I think our recollection of mine is well, that this serves the purpose of the Gina said.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's just a simple fix. If
I can make that.
so,
I can make that amendment.
absolutely.
But I'm going to go back and read the notes
Fair enough.
that Mr. Palmer had.
No, ma'am, what I'm
Or
saying.
do you recall it as well?
No, ma'am, you can actually just make the motion.
Okay.
You can just say contingent upon any money left over. It's solved.
The council recommends refunding $1.5 million to the MEAG Municipal Trust Flexible Account after the GFA loan has been applied. And that's in the form of a motion.
Second.
Well, the motion's been properly seconded. Any discussion?
I was just saying that, just in light of, I know I'm not trying to bore anyone, but the same thing over and over again, that the purpose in which we drew down the money served well. And if I'm hearing it correct, the purpose in which we drew it down for, this is the same issue or problem that we have with the vegetation right now. If my memory serves me correctly. Am I right, City Manager? And that we want to take the action of being proactive instead of being reactive. Because I think the time to be reactive will put us in a position where we stay with our Camilla Southside Gymnasium. That we want to be proactive and go ahead and take care of the problems at hand. Because if this does fail, there is a major problem that our citizens will face, I'm sure, with sewage, water, all those types of things. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I think it served its purpose, and I think that was to draw down. And because we drew down the money, we now can say, go ahead, City Manager, and authorize this to take place so that our citizens won't have to suffer or have to be in a position of a hope that we don't have an issue. I yield back the floor.
Okay.
May I offer a comment that might clarify the position that I have on this? Because I do think that the vote that was just taken on item H about using 32,000 of the 1.5 million was doing exactly what Councilman Pollard is saying. It was being proactive to address what Stillwater Engineering had indicated to our city manager and what our own city staff had said. And so the majority of council voted to agree with the engineer's recommendation and the staff recommendation. the 1.5 million that was moved from MEAG to the city's account can only be used for just this one thing. At the time, if the GFA loan comes through, then it's going to be where I see we'll turn to our city manager to say, just like if we were making a decision on purchasing a car, what is the interest rate with GFA? What is the interest rate we can make off the 1.5 million? And you're going to have to recommend to us what's better. For us to let our money work for us and draw more interest. If the GFA loan is, I believe the mayor mentioned around 1% last week, I believe is what he mentioned, right around 1%. So if you're able to say, well, we can get 3% or 4% or whatever that is, whatever you find out from MEAG, then I think we're in a position to make a prudent financial decision that let's continue on financing long-term at a 1% interest rate and let our 1.5 million work for us by drawing interest. That's the only reason this is being brought up. Okay?
Yes, sir.
You didn't say that if we go ahead with that project, that we would be forfeiting our approval from the GFA loan. Is that going to forfeit our loan if we go ahead?
No, sir. No, sir. Before, the engineering firm did say to hold up. But in conversation with them now about this vegetation, that is not an issue. What he's saying to us now is move forward, get the vegetation out. So that is not a hold up like it was before.
Well, okay, I just want to get that clear. It sounded like it was going to be an issue. But to comment on this proposal, good money management would tell you to take the 1.5 million after the project has been completed, just like I had it, made the motion last Monday night. Apparently, all of it didn't get on there. But that you would do what's called an offset by putting the money back in the trust fund flexible account, which will earn significantly more than 1% interest. Therefore, you would be covering your expenses plus paying on the principal from the interest earned from that money. So by all means, that's the proper money management approach to go.
Yeah. Council, I want everybody to see this. The 1.5 that we keep talking about was not last week. So
we talked about it at the work session.
Yes, we did. So I just want to make sure that we all know that numbers could change.
Yeah, and I appreciate that distinction, because I think that that point is being missed here. We haven't, the project has not been bidded out yet. The 1.5 million is from 15, 18 months ago. That was an estimate. The thing hasn't even been bidded out yet. We don't even know how much it's going to cost. We know it's going to be at least 1.5 million. But I know that we just went through the highest inflation that we've had in the last 40 years. I suspect that it's going to be a little bit more than that. And with that being said, whatever balance, if there's any, at that particular time, that question of what happens to the balance will be the determination of this council, if you will. So, you know, to say today, without knowing how much the actually going to cost, to say today that we're going to set it back, using words like prudent, I don't think that would be prudent to do that. Like Gunny said, who can predict the weather for next month? I mean, the concept of saying today that you're gonna send back 1.5 million without even knowing if you need it or not, is, interesting, to say the least.
Let me straighten that out. That is not what I said. It was understood last week that this would be subject to the approval of the loan. Now, no money would be sent anywhere. Besides that, it's our money that's going back in our account. It ain't going to the moon. So that was the proposal that I made, and that has not changed.
Oh, no, I get it. But still, we don't know how much it's gonna cost. So, you know, it would be my recommendation that yes, this money needs to stay where it's at. But ultimately, obviously, the council will make that call. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor, and again, council, the recommendation is to, after GFA funding, contingent upon GFA funding, and then correct me if I'm wrong, Councilmember Tucker, that whatever money is remaining after we get the approval, that we want to send that back.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. All in favor? All opposed? Mayor votes no. Motion fails. Thank you,
Item
Council.
J, the mayor and council discuss the need to appoint a city representative to serve on the Youth Council Advisory Board. The floor is now open for nominations. And since I have the floor, I'd like to nominate Mayor Pro Tem Corey Morgan as the delegate for the Youth Council Advisory Board.
All right, thank you, Council. Are there any more nominations?
Councilman Pollard would like to nominate none other than our prestige awesome leader, and chief elected official, none other than our mayor, Mr. Kevin Owens, to be on this youth council advisory board.
Well, I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Are there any other nominations? All right. We'll start with and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. City Attorney. We'll start backwards.
Yes, that'd be fine. Whichever way you like to do it, would be fine.
All right. All in favor of appointing Mayor Pro Tem Corey Morgan to serve as the council representative for the Youth Council Advisory Board? All in favor?
You said should represent the council, as if we got two different things going on?
No, so, I'm sorry, brother. This right here is for...
So,
I'm trying to make sure we're not having two representatives.
No.
This is just one representative.
That's right. So the vote right now is open for the Mayor Pro Tem Morgan. So...
Do we have time for comment at this? Are we comment, no nominations?
Yeah,
Do you want to serve?
Right. Yeah, okay.
We just vote and say he is this, or we can't just say he's appointed to like he don't have an option.
I got you. Unless our esteemed parliamentarian tells me otherwise. Yes, sir. You have any words?
I just want to thank Councilmember Tucker and other colleagues for the nomination. I think with the coming months and my job schedule, I don't have the availability to do that fully and being that hands-on, but I do plan to be around and available, as I hope all of our colleagues are with this youth council. So thank you for that.
All right. Mr. City Attorney, even though Councilmember Tucker made the nomination, does he have the option to withdraw his name?
yes, he does.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
so at this time, would you like to withdraw your name?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are there any other nominations? All right. So at this time, I accept, with no other nominations on the floor, I accept the charge, if you will, to serve on the Youth Council Advisory Board.
Still need to take a vote, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, fair enough. You know, I was listening to all the adjectives that my friend got.
Motion that nominations be close.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely.
Somebody make that motion.
All right, so is there a motion to close the nominations?
Motion.
Second. Have a motion, probably second.
If you vote for the motion, then of course elects the mayor as the member of this council.
Gotcha. And just so that everybody is tracking, the fact that Mayor Pro Tem took his name out of the running, if you will, because there's no one else to vote for once the motion was seconded, that automatically puts me there. So,
We're only taking the vote to close the nominations is also your vote to vote for the mayor.
That's correct.
I just want to make sure I was understanding that correctly.
all right, well, thank you, council. I look forward to serving. All right, thank you, council.
Still have to have a vote.
Vote made.
Oh, I thought.
All those in favor of closing the nominations?
Again, I still got the words playing in my head from our awesome, my awesome colleague. All right, all in favor of the mayor serving as the representative for the youth council board for this upcoming cycle? All in favor? All opposed? All right, my count is 4. No, I think Councilman Collins said yes. 4-2. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council.
Item K, the mayor and council discussed an annual date for lighting of the city's Christmas tree. The council recommends designating the first Thursday of December as the annual date for the tree lighting. The time of the annual event will be designated by the city manager or his or her designee, and this is in a form of a motion.
Second. We have a motion that's been properly second. Any discussion? All right, go ahead, sir.
I'll just add to that, just hearing some comments from the citizens, educators, and so on within the community, how extremely excited they are about the lighting tree, the tree that we actually have purchased and the ceremony to take place. Something else that have not been done around us in this area, of Southwest Georgia. We mostly look at it and we go into Atlanta, the big city, where we have holiday lighting ceremonies with Christmas trees. But there is so much excitement, even from our June 10th committee that was served here at the city of Camilla. They are so excited about the ceremony, what they can actually add to the ceremony. They will be proposing some things that they will want to add to the ceremony for the lighting of the tree. So I would just like to lay that to you that people are really excited about this tree and having that ceremony here in the city of Camilla. Something different from what we just know the tradition of the Christmas parade. So we're looking forward to adding more. So yeah, I just want to make sure I put that out there. How excited the citizens are about it.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm very thankful for us as a council going ahead and deciding that we were going to do this. And the most important part about this whole thing is we're looking to make this an annual event for the city of Camilla. And along with our new tree, I think this will be a great opportunity for council and the community to be able to come together as one and light our Christmas tree on our front lawn of the city hall. I think that is going to be an amazing day.
Totally agree. All right. Any other comments? All right. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. And at this time, I think we've reached that point in our agenda for the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council. Before you, you have the 4 roads that we're considering paving and rebuilding the cul-de-sacs, the ones that we talked about last week. I've asked our engineering to give us a proposal, and I believe you see that in front of you from York and Associates, York Engineering and Associates. Provided that we could do this work, as I said last time we met, it will greatly stop some erosion. It'll stop some drainage issue on those citizens. It will extend the road to put the cul-de-sac back. It will also widen those roads back to where they're supposed to be. Right now, some of the shoulders are cut off and the roads are, in some places, much narrower than they're supposed to be. But with this proposal from York, we're hoping that we can at least get this project started. So I'm asking that you grant Mayor authorization to sign this contract so I can get it moving forward.
All right, council, is there a motion? And if I'm looking at this, city manager, the total cost to do these 4 streets, if I'm looking at this right, is fee for part A.
But that is their fee for doing the engineering portion.
Okay,
And then what they will have to do, Mr. Mayor, is actually bid the project out.
I got you. So you will come back to us anyway?
Yes, sir. I just need permission for them to go to work.
Okay, good deal. All right.
I have a question for the city
Sure.
attorney.
Sure.
Since this was not an action item on our list, and we just got this information,
The council can
can we,
add to the
okay, because with it not being an action item, I feel like it needs to be added to the agenda for action to be taken on it. And not out from under the city manager's report.
The open records, Open Meetings Act, says you have an agenda, but it's something, a moment comes up and a councilman.
Exactly, but I felt like we needed a motion to add it to the agenda since it's not on the agenda.
Oh yeah, you beat me to it. So, and I think if there's any other discussion to that, then that'll be fine, obviously. But at this time, I'm gonna take a motion from the floor. Is there a motion to give City Manager Stroud the authority to work with York and Associates to start the bidding process to repair these roads?
Don't we need to amend it first?
We need to amend the agenda
You
first.
can make it the same motion, Mayor.
In the same motion.
Okay.
Amend the agenda and approve York.
All right. Is there a motion to amend the agenda to add the York and Associates Engineering fee proposal and to give the city manager the authority to engage York and Associates to start a bidding process for these projects?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion is properly second. Any discussion? I'm just going to point out, just real quick, the genius, if you will, of getting a second engineering firm. And I am hoping that the people of Camilla are really paying attention to what's happening here in this room almost on a monthly basis. Stuff is moving. So, Mr. City Manager, kudos to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, well, the motion's been, yes, sir.
I just want to thank the city manager because I came to him less than 2 weeks ago. He put it on the agenda. I had it on the agenda for last week's work session. And for us to actually turn around and get information like we have tonight is just amazing. I appreciate you, Mr. City Manager,
Thank you, sir.
for your hard work, dedication, and due diligence for taking care of things in the city. That's what a city manager does, take care of things. And I appreciate you, and I will be getting back with the constituents there, talked to them on yesterday, throughout the weekend on certain ones that stay up in that area. I was just giving them some updates of what's about to happen. So with this here, hey, it's going to be music to their ears, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Mr. City Manager, is this funding source ARPA?
This funding source is ARPA.
Thank you.
Actually, there's 2 ways I can look at it. I can look at T-SPLOS, I can look at ARPA and OSPLOS.
Okay.
So I have multiple sources I can go for.
Well, in terms of the fee, so because we haven't had the bidding yet, so
Yeah.
right. So what I would recommend is let's get the bids in and see what we're working with prior to identifying the funding source. Okay. All right. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council.
The second item that I have for us tonight is I know over the last probably 3 or 4 months, we talked about a leadership retreat. And what I want to ask for you, council, is look at your calendars for December the 2nd. And what I'm looking at is if I can make that an all-day event. I have a place that I think I've selected over in Albany that we can go and really strategize about how we want to move forward. So December the 2nd. The facilitator and I talked about 2 days, but I'm hoping we could get it done in one. And then the following day, I would take the directors down to the depot, and then we will have our based on what comes out of this session.
So that's December, which is Friday.
Yes, sir. I did break it down. I know we talked about 2 days, but I looked at cost and I looked at time, so I'm hoping one day will work for us all.
So,
Facilitator, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, please.
The facilitator that you were looking at is from Carl Vinson, or is it from
No,
the
ma'am.
Institute of Government,
No,
or
ma'am.
you have something else
Yes.
up your sleeve?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We was gonna ask you that.
All right.
It's a surprise. It might be Santa, December.
So if I'm hearing you right, Mr. City Manager, maybe just looking for an email from us tomorrow or the day after.
Sure, just check your calendars and let me know your availability before I lock down this day.
Okay. All right, so if it's okay with the council, if we can let the city manager know by COB tomorrow, if that's okay? Okay, good deal. Close the business tomorrow. Thank you.
And then, okay, if one last thing, last time we talked about our auditor, and I was talking about he's retiring and he's no longer gonna be with us. So we went and got who's been working with him and working with our financial consultant. Same conditions, so the fees, everything is stayed exactly the same. We had a lengthy discussion, but everything that our current auditor is charging us and the current services, this new firm that's been working with him is gonna provide the exact same service, same cost. So I'm hoping that once I get something written up, and you guys can approve, and we will have an auditor in place for, depends on the length of time you tell them. Typically, it's at least 3 years.
Where's this auditor from?
It's, matter of fact, the same auditor working with our current auditor, who did 95% of our current audit work, they did it. And plus, this auditor is currently working with our financial consultant as well. So the relationship is already there. They understand Camilla's finances and our consultant.
Can you tell that name of the firm?
Yes, sir. It is, and I hope he's not looking, it's Vicente? Yes, Valenti.
I know. Good.
Yeah.
Could we also be seeking to look outside of this firm that we already have relationship with? Are you looking to seek other firms?
Well, that's certainly this council's prerogative. What I was seeking was to get one in place.
I would like for you to be seeking other as well.
All right, so what we'll do is, well, let's do this. Is there a consensus, so if we're getting this answer back by November, if you will, you're not asking tonight for us to give you that authority?
I was just letting everybody know what has happened since the last meeting.
Okay.
So for me, it seems as if you're saying that this is already, you're stating that this is gonna be the auditor.
No, sir. No, sir. I have not entered an agreement with anyone. I was only telling you what I found out.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the consensus is that familiarity, if I'm hearing you correctly, is obviously to our benefit. However, if by November you have if there are other folks, if you will, we'll find that out at the work session in November. So now, are you giving them do they know that they probably won't hear anything before November?
Oh, they don't have a timeline at all.
Perfect. No. All right, so does that go with everybody that because I think we got to nail this now.
I think we do need to have a discussion about it.
That's right.
A comprehensive discussion about this.
That's right.
I don't think that it's something that we should just jump into. and make a decision about it.
I think that would be prudent. I agree. And so we know for a fact for November's work session, that is one of the things that'll be on the list. Cool. All right. Any other comments from the city manager?
No, sir.
Any questions for the city manager?
The updates on the splash park.
Yes, sir. Splash pad updates. The contractor and I agreed to October the 10th through the 14th to finish all the asphalt work and the restriping. I went out today and I did not see them on station. Right. However, the window was from the 10th through the 14th, so we'll keep our eyes on it.
And from my recollection, this was to be closed from the 10th to the 14th.
That is correct.
Because currently, right now, it's still open.
Well,
I see residents.
yes, sir. Once I noticed this first thing this morning that they were not there and had no intention of coming today, there was no need to inconvenience those residents. But now that tomorrow, once I contact them again tomorrow, and he said they're on the way, we'll block it off. I just didn't want to block it off and there's no activity.
Okay, no problem at all. My last question will be the updates on Tools Park fencing.
Tools Park fencing, yes, sir. I spoke to that contractor as well. And at the last count, when I spoke to them Friday, they still think they're probably at least 2 weeks out from the ornamental fencing. At least.
Ordering or receiving?
Receiving.
Okay.
No, the ordering already. You know, once we order it, the manufacturer got to make it and ship it. But they think they're still 2 weeks out.
I have a question too, Mr. City Manager. I know last week you spoke about the cameras that they was installing around town. Have they, in Toombs Park, have they got that taken care of yet?
Yes, sir. That's multiple cameras out at it that's covered the park right now. And we've had mixed emotions about it, but I think we're well covered out there.
And then for me, Mr. City Manager, when you have a moment, maybe you just share out with the council the current streets that have been identified for the 23 LMIG, just a status update on those. And
LMIG is due to be submitted in February.
Okay.
And I did find the LMIG list.
Mm-hmm.
I found the T-SPLOS list.
Okay.
And there's something else on there, but I found it.
Okay.
And so I've already set up the accounts with taking the old CM out and putting me in.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything is ready. I just don't have to have it submitted though until February.
Okay. Will you share the streets that were submitted?
Yes, sir.
Originally? Or those lists that you say you found?
Yes, sir. No, sir, because I don't have that list.
Could you just email it to us?
Yeah, I can email it to you though.
Yeah. Thank you.
I tell you what I would do. I would email that out the same time that I do the household stuff.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have a question as well for the city manager. I appreciated during the work session, and I always do, in having the packets from the fire chief and the police chief, and it was great having them here last week. Could we begin with the November work session also having financials in there, a financial report?
Well, I can begin in November, but I think what we originally said was December.
Oh,
because
okay.
you approve the budget, you got to give me a few days, and then in December we'll come back with our first financial update.
Okay.
All right. Before we move on to the mayor announcements, any final words from the council?
I'll just echo everything that been said tonight. City Manager, we thank you for the job that you have taken and what you're continuing to do and doing your due diligence to move the city forward in every aspect that we ask of you and beyond those that we do not see, that you do take pride that says that you in the length of time that you take your job seriously and our city seriously along with our citizens. And so for that alone, we just say thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Anything else? All right. I'll be real brief. The city manager and I, we had a conversation with our architect this morning related to the floor plans, if you will, of the new Camilla Resource Center, Community Resource Center, that will house the Boys and Girls Club. As you recall, this council has approved the $2.5 million to give our kids an updated, awesome facility of about 7,500 square feet. That project is still on track. Kids should be in that building by next August. We're extremely excited, and hopefully here, the main person that's working with us to get this thing done, he's getting married this weekend. So probably here in about 3 weeks, we should have some good renderings for you guys to have a look at. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware where we are in the progress with that. Again, another indication that the majority of this council, we are looking forward to giving our kids the things that they deserve. Lastly, she doesn't like me doing this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And she can beat me up later. And that's Cheryl Ford.
She already looked at you though.
As we announced last week, I believe it was, the city of Camilla has received nearly $1 million in CDBG grants to repair our aging sewer system. Again, another indication that in terms for us to grow, we got to have the infrastructure to grow, if you will. But I want to make sure everybody understands when I say this and I talk about Cheryl Ford, because she won't do this herself, because that's just who she is. But I'm going to just break it down for you. So when early this year, without a city manager, without a chief financial officer, still weighing in on whether or not we're going to have Mr. Dennis come in, the lady sitting to my right here, when asked, said that I'll stand in the gap. And in the process of doing that, we're in the middle of getting our CDBG stuff ready to go. And our revitalization area strategy, which is a key component of that CDBG, or a part of what we do. Some of you know this for a fact because she put on her tennis shoes, rallied members of the staff, and went door to door in that community while doing her job as the city clerk. And 2 years prior to that, when we lost a very valuable member of our team, she did it again. And to this day, she continues to do that job. So, for everybody keeping count, she was the city clerk, the city manager, the de facto chief financial officer, our representative for CDBG. Did I mention the city clerk deal already? So we're talking about somewhere between 4 and 5 hats. Here's the thing, though, that a lot of people don't know. She wouldn't take a dime extra. And I apologize, Cheryl, for bringing this piece up, but a lot of people don't know this. And I apologize ahead of time, but I think it's important that the record is clear. While doing all of this, the woman was going through her own personal tragedy. 5 hats, driving from here at night to Alabama to check on a loved one, coming back and doing the work. I had to twist her arm, not literally, but almost, to take $15,000 in additional pay for doing 5 jobs. I wanted to give her more. She wouldn't take it. We've been saying a lot tonight about the awesome work that City Manager Stroud has put in, but I'm sure he will sit here today and bear witness that the reason why he was able to hit the ground running is because
No doubt about it, family. Just missing your cake.
well, so Cheryl, on behalf of this council, on behalf of this city,
I'm sorry, man, I want to interrupt you, but I
Yeah.
want to say that she did all of that. Nevertheless, to leave out, without any hesitation of a word back.
right?
She didn't do nothing, not one thought. I'm ready to get started. So it wasn't a hesitation, it wasn't a word back, nothing. Whatever it takes to move our city forward. That's what it's all about, teamwork. And every staff during that time, if you have a conversation with them, they didn't listen to you. There was no fussing, there was no fighting, the city hall didn't tore, none of that. Everything kept rolling. So we couldn't ask for anything better. I wanted to recognize doing that, city clerk, we need to have one.
Well,
I definitely say, we got to show forward.
Indeed, and obviously with the team that she helped lead, obviously they did awesome work, but surely Cheryl has done it, and again culminating in this city receiving nearly $1 million in CDBG grant to help move our city forward. So Cheryl, on behalf of the city, thank you very much. All right. So, council, that is all I have, and the fact that we have reached the end of our agenda, is there a motion to adjourn? We are adjourned. Thank you, council.